It's not necessarily malicious, this collective blindness, but it's dangerous because it bypasses real thinking and personal responsibility.
So is the implication there that it's a deliberate choice not to think? Or is it more about the pressure, the societal pressure, that makes it hard to think independently in this new religion of followers?
That's a great question, and I think the critique kind of points to both. There's maybe some individual laziness, yeah, it's comfortable not doing the hard thinking, but there's also that powerful groupthink comfort, isn't there? It can feel safer than asking real questions, especially online where challenging the group gets you attacked, sometimes fiercely. So the artist is highlighting the dangerous results of that choice, conscious or not, when we let others dictate our inner compass. And it challenges you listening, doesn't it, to really look at where your beliefs come from. How do you engage with information? Are you thinking for yourself or just kind of following, letting followers be your conviction?
Mm-hmm. But amidst all this sharp critique, the artist does ground the message in these really powerful affirmations too, like life and love as fundamental gifts. It's not all bleak. There's this positive thread woven through. They saying life is a gift, time is the currency, and we can't ever replace it. Love is a gift. How are you going to sit here and bond over mutual hatred?
Yeah, and here they draw this really clear line, don't they, between positive values, life, love, and that destructive force of mutual hatred. And that line, time is the currency and we can't ever replace it, that's quite profound. It reframes our whole existence, not just something we have, but this finite resource we spend constantly. So, to waste that irreplaceable currency on mutual hatred, the artist presents that as just a tragic waste of our most valuable asset. It highlights this basic choice. Build on the gifts we have, connection, existence. Or build on hate and division. Choosing hatred, they argue, squanders everything important.
And it's around here that the artist brings in this idea of the devil, presented, artistically, as this kind of pervasive negative influence.
Yeah.
But the description goes beyond just a simple bad guy figure. The devil got too many faces. The devil is clever and thorough. He worked till all of your morals are tainted. If we can't admit that he's real, then please tell me how we'll ever face him.
Right. And the artist uses the devil really effectively here, I think, not as a literal figure with horns, but as this powerful metaphor for those insidious forces, apathy, moral compromise, destructive habits that quietly chip away at us, at our collective conscience. The key insight seems to be that this devil is clever, has too many faces, meaning it's not always obvious. It could look like complacency or just blindly accepting things or subtly justifying hate. And the artist's main point is critical. If we refuse to even acknowledge these negative forces exist, whether they're internal biases or external pressures, and how can we possibly confront them? How can we overcome them? It's kind of an invitation to name the shadows, maybe, the ones we'd rather ignore. And this part of the song really invites you to think about what evil or negative influences look like in your world, and how maybe just acknowledging they exist in whatever form is the first step to dealing with them in yourself, in your community.
That's a very practical interpretation of a powerful metaphor. Okay, so despite all these bleak observations, the sharp critiques, the artist wraps it up with this really clear, strong declaration, a personal conviction, a call to leadership almost. It's a defiant stance, really, a personal decision amidst all the problems they've laid out. They declare, I won't be scared to preach a word and lead by faith. Y'all don't want to lead, I'm going to get up and do it myself.
And this presents a really compelling idea for you, doesn't it? This is the artist's chosen response to everything they've critiqued. It's a choice to actively live the values they're calling for, not just sit back and complain. The insight here is that when faced with what they see as moral decline and apathy, they recognize individual action, individual leadership is necessary. They're essentially saying, if nobody else steps up, fine, I will. It's this personal commitment to push back, to actively preach and lead by faith, which, as we discussed, could mean that deep inner moral compass. It's about taking responsibility for the change you want to see, basically.
That sense of urgency, maybe even a bit of isolation in that call to lead, it really comes through. Do you think the artist sees themselves as totally alone in this, or is it also kind of a rallying cry, hoping to inspire others?
I think it might be both, There's definitely a sense that they see a leadership vacuum, that others are reluctant, which fuels their personal declaration, y'all don't want to lead. But by making that declaration so publicly, so passionately, it inherently is an attempt to galvanize, isn't it? It's part challenge, part invitation, part example. And it prompts us to think, okay, when you perceive a decline in values or critical thought around you, what is your personal response? How do you choose to act or lead in your own sphere? Does this resonate with your own feeling of responsibility to uphold certain things, even if it feels like you're swimming against the tide sometimes?
And that brings us towards the end of our deep dive today. We've explored this really passionate musical statement. It challenges complacency, calls for deeper faith, deeper humanity, critiques those baseless opinions, that herd mentality, and confronts this idea of evil with a really powerful personal commitment to lead. It's complex, raw, but ultimately maybe hopeful.
Yeah, I think so. This dive into the lyrics, it really offers a potent reflection on where we are with societal values and that enduring human need for purpose, for critical thinking, for real connection. It reminds us these aren't just abstract ideas, right? They're things we deal with, things we embody every single day. The artist's strong language kind of forces us to look both inward and outward pretty intensely.
So what does it all mean? Well, in a world where the artist suggests followers become the new religion, maybe it leaves you considering. What does it truly mean to forge your own path, to cultivate genuine beliefs, not just borrowed ones? And maybe how do you lead with integrity in your everyday life rather than just getting swept along? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.